Peace, family. Hope all is well. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about stare decisis, okay? As it pertains, to our objectives. Yesterday we went over the legal claim, okay? Now, today we're going to go over what is stare decisis. But first, a disclaimer. This is not financial advice. This is not legal advice. If you are seeking legal or financial advice, I highly encourage you to seek legal or financial counsel immediately. Let's get into it. What is stare decisis and what does it mean, okay? Well, what it means, stare decisis is a legal doctrine that says courts must follow precedents, which are previous rulings when deciding similar cases. It ensures consistency, stability, and predictability in the law. And this is how it works. All right. So a precedent is a past decision. All right. Courts look at past cases with similar facts or legal questions to guide their decisions. A binding precedent. Lower courts must follow decisions made by higher courts in the same jurisdiction. Example, a South Carolina magistrate court must follow rulings from South Carolina Supreme Court. All right. So on the state side, you can see the flow here. You have your magistrate court, which is at the lowest, in South Carolina, which then go up to the circuit courts, then to the Court of Appeals, all the way to the South Carolina Supreme Court. So in your binding precedents here, if one was set here with the Court of Appeals, the circuit courts and the magistrate courts must follow those binding precedents. Let's continue. All right, your persuasive precedent. Courts can consider rulings from other states or federal courts for guidance, even if they are not required to follow them. Okay, family? So now you get the difference. Let's continue. Why it matters, Fairness. Similar cases get similar outcomes, Ensuring fairness. Efficiency. Judges don't have to reinvent the wheel for every case. As well as stability. The law doesn't change suddenly. It evolves gradually based on rulings. So for example, imagine a South Carolina court previously ruled that a tenant must be given 60 days notice before eviction. Now, if the landlord tries to evict without proper notice, stare decisis allows her to cite that earlier case as a defense. The court is bound to follow the earlier ruling unless there's a compelling reason to overturn it. When can precedents be overturned? If a previous decision is seen as outdated, unjust, or no longer fits societal values, it can be overturned. So, for example, Plessy versus Ferguson in 1896 allowed racial segregation. However, with Brown versus Board of Education in 1954, they overturned it, declaring segregation unconstitutional. Get the picture? Let's continue. All right, let's give a quick summary and then we'll get into some examples, Stare decisis means follow past rulings. It promotes consistency, fairness, and stability in the legal system. Courts can overturn precedents if necessary, but do so rarely and with careful reasoning. Family, for example, let's go through a foreclosure procedure. For the case, we have U.S. Bank versus Ibanez in 2011, Massachusetts Supreme Court Judicial Court. All right. Now, the issue, and I'm sure we've all heard of this, the bank foreclosed on a property without having clear ownership of the mortgage title. Now, the ruling was the court ruled that a bank must prove ownership of the mortgage before initiating foreclosure. So how did stare decisis impact this? Now, banks in Massachusetts and other states often require clear documentation. For example, the assignment of the mortgage. Future courts apply this principle to ensure borrowers are protected from wrongful foreclosure. So this is a case that can be used for a foreclosure procedure, family. Let's continue. Predatory lending. Let's get into it. This particular case was between Quicken Loans versus Brown in 2014, all right, in West Virginia Supreme Court. Now, the issue: a borrower claimed fraud and predatory lending after being pressured into an unfavorable mortgage loan. The ruling: the court found Quicken Loans guilty of deceptive lending practices and ordered financial restitution to the borrower. Okay, how did stare decisis impact this? Courts now pay closer attention to cases involving misrepresentation of loan terms and predatory lending practices. They are applying stricter scrutiny to protect borrowers. Let's continue to another example. Right to rescind. I'm sure we have all heard of this, okay? Let's get into the case. This was between, Janowski and Countrywide Home Loans, Inc. in 2015, U.S. Supreme Court. Now, the issue: borrowers argued they had the right to rescind, cancel their mortgage under the Truth in Lending Act within 3 years without needing to file a lawsuit. What was the ruling? The U.S. Supreme Court ruled that borrowers only need to notify the lender, not file a lawsuit, within 3 years to cancel a loan under the Truth in Lending Act, TILA. Man, y'all getting some game. How did stare decisis impact this? It established a nationwide precedent protecting borrowers' rights to cancel loans without litigation if lenders violate TILA disclosure rules, all right? This can be used for your right to rescind. Let's continue. Mortgage modification and lender obligations. All right, let's check out the case. This is between WeGod and Wells Fargo Bank, 2012, U.S. Court of Appeals, 7th Circuit. What's the issue? A borrower sued Wells Fargo for failing to honor loan modification agreements under the Home Affordable Modification Program, HAMP. You just got a nugget. What was the ruling? The court ruled that lenders can be held liable for breaching modification agreements, even if HAMP itself does not allow lawsuits. How does stare decisis impact that? Courts now enforce lender accountability for modification agreements, protecting borrowers from unfair denials. If you're looking for a house, that's all I'm saying. Let's continue. All right, our last example, mortgage fraud and misrepresentation. Let's check out the case. This one is between Smith versus Bank of America Corporation, 2014, U.S. District Court. What's the issue? The issue is the borrower claimed fraudulent practices in approving a mortgage loan without proper income verification. What was the ruling? The court allowed claims to proceed, holding banks liable for fraud and misrepresentation during loan origination. How does stare decisis impact that? This case reinforced protections for borrowers, requiring full transparency during the lending process. All right, family, let's get to the key takeaways here, Foreclosure protection. Courts often require banks to show their clear title and proper legal standing before evicting borrowers. Predatory lending. Precedents protect borrowers against unfair practices and hidden terms in loans. Loan rescission rights. Borrowers can cancel loans under Truth in Lending Act rules without a lawsuit if lenders violate regulations, as well as lender accountability. Courts enforce loan modification agreements and penalize lenders for fraud or misrepresentation. It's huge that you guys understand and respect stare decisis as you're constructing your legal claims, So, family, like I always say, I hope this helps. And I love you guys. Peace. Stare decisis. That's big, family.